Now, I think it's pretty safe to say that a lot of Star Wars fans are very curious about what Disney and Lucasfilm have up their sleeve for the future of the Star Wars franchise in order to really reshape Star Wars as we know it. This is Mike Zero. Make sure to subscribe if you're new to the channel for future Star Wars content. Now, the one thing about the new Star Wars trilogy from Disney and Lucasfilm is that they're trying to develop a brand new mythology of Star Wars that's really going to change our perception of Star Wars and the Force, the Jedi, the Sith, new dark side warriors, and a whole lot more. Now, obviously, it's really good news because Kathleen Kennedy no longer has creative control over these new Star Wars movies, these new Star Wars TV shows, these new projects currently in the works, etc. And I think that really does spell a light at the end of the tunnel here. It really does. Because when you think about it this way, I think it's going to be an interesting change to see how the Star Wars franchise compares under Disney when Kathleen Kennedy was actually in control of creative choices in comparison to when she will no longer be in control of creative choices and decisions. So I'm honestly looking forward to that, to see exactly what they have in store for these new particular Star Wars movies, what Bob Chapek is going to do with the new Star Wars trilogy, also known as the fourth Star Wars trilogy, that's going to be releasing in theaters in the near future. Now, on top of all of this, what's really intriguing is, of course, the new mythology, right? Everything related to the Jedi, the Sith, the Dark, and the Light, and a whole lot more, and how that's going to be explored. Now that both Disney and Lucasfilm are finished with The Rise of Skywalker, they are focused on their new Star Wars trilogy as well as their new universe. It's explained that Disney is primarily focused on the first film of the new trilogy dubbed as Star Wars X, which implies Star Wars Episode 10. It's explained that Lucasfilm has a plan in place to introduce the origin of the four sages of the Duarte. Now, they were a group of contentious philosophers and lawgivers from the early days of the Galactic Republic who had great influence on its early constitution. At some point when the Sith dominated the galaxy, a number of statues represented the four sages that were made. Supreme Chancellor Sheev Palpatine, in case you guys did not know, he kept a bronzium statue, set of 4 of them to be exact, inside of his office and chambers on the planet of Coruscant. Now, it's known that Lucasfilm wants to incorporate the legend of the philosophers and these lawgivers in the upcoming new Star Wars film that will explain the formation of the Galactic Republic in great detail and the origin of it all under Disney, and that they will also be borrowing elements from what George Lucas had planned to do with this new into the actual prequels before it actually got cut from the idea from his scripts. Not just that, but also Lucasfilm wants to dive into the origin of the fallen wills that created the dark side of the Force itself that caused the great divide between the Jedi and the Sith, and also cover the story of both the first Jedi and the first Sith in legend. It's explained that Kevin Feige is still searching for A-list actors to become a part of this new Star Wars film that will also kickstart the new trilogy of films to come in the near future. And their plot element that Lucasfilm is looking to establish is to actually dive further into Yoda's story and his relation with the Wookiees on Kashyyyk, and that would actually look like sometime before the events of The Phantom Menace. Lucasfilm is still in negotiations of using the Roman numeral format for this new Star Wars film. Now, the thing about Star Wars, right, is that this really is a risky move by Disney and Lucasfilm by explaining, more details about the Galactic Republic and everything related to the four sages of the Duarte. Now, you guys may be wondering, what in the world are the four sages of the Duarte? Well, like I said before, they are lawgivers and philosophers. You do see statues of them in Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith, where we go inside of Palpatine's office. You do see a handful of them when he's talking to Anakin Skywalker. Those are the four sages of Duarte. They're going to be explained in this new movie, and that's exactly what Lucasfilm wants to do, to kind of show us the legend, right, of these lawgivers, these philosophers, and everything related to the formation of the Galactic Republic. Now, when we look at everything here for Star Wars, right, we do know that Kevin Feige is going to have a role of some degree as a producer for Star Wars X, which, by the way, is the working title of course, this new Star Wars film that's going to really create a brand new mythology. The thing that really interests me a lot here is the fact that they're going to dive more into the Fallen Wills. Now, the Fallen Wills are kind of like Star Wars version, from what it seems, of Fallen Angels, if I really had to make the comparison there. That's what it seems like, at least in my point of view. So the Fallen Wills are said to be the ones directly responsible for creating the dark side itself, and that this film will fully explain exactly what the dark side really is down to the core and exactly how it really got created and spread throughout the galaxy. To me, I think it's going to be very interesting to understand the dark side of the Force a little bit more. However, at the same exact time, some of you guys out there may say that it's a bit of a risk by demystifying the Force like that and explaining it in a literal sense of exactly what it really is and how it was actually created. Sometimes, I will agree, sometimes things are best to be left alone, such as Yoda's backstory and stuff around those lines. Now, that's the other thing. They want to tap more into Yoda's story well before the events of The Phantom Menace and his relation with the Wookiees, once again. Kind of connecting to what Yoda said in the prequel trilogy films of how he has a close, relation with the Wookiees on Kashyyyk. So with that being said, guys, drop a comment below. Let me know what you think about all of this in the comments. And if you guys did enjoy the content for today, do make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.